So when it comes to kind of, say that you've got like, your average dude's like, oh, I want to kind of like take on one of these events, or maybe I want to kind of start training for one of these events. They're not totally ready yet to buy in to say, oh man, I need to revalve my suspension for this specifically. What kind of things are they going to be looking at for setup to kind of have, I guess you could say, a better experience at either or maybe even both of those events?
Yeah, well, obviously, Brian, you picked two events that are polar opposites or one of
Absolutely. That's what we do.
You know, but that's the privateer, right? He's got, say, a 300 XC or an RR or whatever, and he wants to do that, or she wants to do that. Now, there's some great gals coming up through it as well. The main thing that I would say is look at the course and really try and set your bike up for two things. Number one is on all these modern dirt bikes, and it doesn't really matter what brand, I stress this over and over again, the chassis has to be flat as possible, meaning when you're either bombing across the desert or through the woods, and we're going to see some film in a minute that really brings home the point. The bikes set up on all these new bikes, they're razor sharp turners, and they do a lot of things well, but if you have your setup off, you can get a lot of head shake, like out west. I had a customer that just got a 500. He called me up. He's like, hey, can you help me with some clickers and stuff like that? I don't have time to get the springs and revalve on there. And, he hit me up. He said, there's just head shake all over when you hit the sand whoops at fourth or fifth gear with stock stuff. So, you want to have the chassis set up as flat as you can. And the second thing is you need to tune your bike for the portion of the course where you need the most help. So I'll give you an example. If you look at the video from King of the Motos, the amateurs, it's all about trying to get up those mountains, right? They can go blasting across the desert or 60 or 70, but when you're going to sit in a canyon because you can't get traction, your race is over. So King of the Motos, for those of you who haven't seen it or know anything about it, it's not just those canyons. That course also includes fifth gear tap, sixth gear tap, lake beds and some desert whoops and stuff like that as a part of the course. So you really need to think about, where do I need the most help? And almost unanimously from the amateur side is you want to be able to get your bike to settle in the back and try and push you forward. So that means a little bit on the softer side on the forks, but the shock, you should almost sack it out too. And again, we're talking about an extreme event, right, where you have to really go to extreme measures because you're looking for traction. So you back your high-speed compression off, you run more sag on your bike, because everything out there is square edges. So as that rear tire, you're finally getting up the canyon, right, and you've got a clear shot at these 2, 3, 4 foot ledges, you need that bike to be able to grab that and push it forward rather than hit it and bounce off, i.e. if your settings are too stiff, or if you got too much pressure in your tire. That race is a one race off setup, and there's a lot of guys that do quite well with their stock bikes, but you can tell that they've taken the time to make sure that they give themselves every opportunity and every advantage to keep their momentum going up the hill.
Man, that